And we're back.
Are we?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Welcome to the Auto Authorities Podcast. My name is Jay Grossman. I'm the founder and CEO of iAutoAgent.com. And this is my co-host, Mr. David Marks of Quality Auto Repair and Tire. And if you're noticing right now and you're watching this, we have a special guest. And I'm going to tell you this guest is somebody that you're going to want to listen to, because I think that this guest can benefit probably 70% of the world right now. Wouldn't you say, Mr. David Marks?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we have Jackie Hug with Credit Defenders, and we're going to get going here in a second, but she is going to teach us how to get our credit score up fast. And we have story time. Are you ready to do this, guys?
Absolutely.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride when buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay.
And I'm Dave.
And this is the podcast that tells you what to watch out for, whether you're buying, selling,
or repairing your car.
With 47 years of automotive experience, we are the Automotive Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent. We're real estate agents for cars.
And Quality Auto STL. Trusted services with no surprises.
Boom! Yeah! Welcome to the Auto Authorities Podcast. My name's Jay Grossman. I'm the founder and CEO of iAutoAgent. This is David Marks, and he is with Quality Auto Tire and Repair, or Repair and Tire. I got to get this right. He did all this new branding, and he's confusing everybody. So we also have Jackie Hug with the Credit Defenders, and we have some amazing information to share with you today. Definitely a lot of golden nuggets coming our way. Before we get going, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Podcastify.me. That's Podcastify.me. Makes this beautiful production every Tuesday live on the Facebook group page called the Auto Authorities Podcast, 12 p.m. Central Time. And if you are just tuning in and you're watching us on YouTube, please click the red subscribe button on the right corner, as well as the notification button, and you can watch us on YouTube. And if you would like to listen to us while you're taking a nice drive to work, you can find us on 19 different channels, including iTunes, Pandora, Amazon,
Spotify.
What is it?
Spotify.
Oh, Dave had to say Spotify. So please leave us comments also on this, and we just want to hear your stories, because we're going to hear from Jackie today. We're going to hear about her stories and all the things that she has to share, but we want to hear what you have to share and the questions you have about building your credit score. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Jackie Hug of Credit Defenders.
Ta-da!
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I want to let you know I'm not just a guest. I am a subscriber. I really enjoy the show. So thank you for having me on.
Can you do that again, Jay?
Yay! we have literally subscribers all over the world, and it's really cool. And I know, are you national, Jackie?
Yes, for mostly yes.
Awesome.
There's a few exceptions in there.
Well, tell us about your background.
Well, so I have a large background in customer service generally, but I did start my company in November of 2020, Credit Defenders. So we help with personal credit, business credit, and business funding. I got started, my husband's actually a real estate investor, and when dealing in real estate, he was having a hard time. You know, we deal with a lot of people that may be in foreclosure, tax auction, things like that. And we're able to buy their house to help them out. But when it comes to finding somewhere else to live, renting an apartment, buying a new house, anything like that, I mean, it's all dependent on credit. And he didn't have anybody to send these people to. And back in the day, I had some credit issues myself. was able to improve my own credit. Yeah, who hasn't? Who hasn't? Especially if you're a business owner, who hasn't had some bad credit in there? Now you're the exception. You're the exception, Jay. But yeah, I had some poor credit decisions myself. Was able to improve my credit, and he's like, "Do you think you ever thought about helping other people fix their credit?" And I was like, "Well, no." But it definitely sounds like something I would be interested in now. So I did some research and kind of fell in love with it. Was able to help some friends and family members, and just went full-fledged into it. So that was November 2020. Started our company. So
what a great time to start a company!
Wow, right?
Yeah,
Wow. That's awesome, Jackie.
Thank you.
I have got a question, and this has just been sticking in my head. And this is, our clients come to us, and obviously they want to buy cars from iAuto Agent, and they're like, "Oh, well, we want to buy a car, and we don't have great credit." And they used Credit Karma, and from what I understand, I want to hear from the expert. But when I was in the dealership world, if you're looking at Credit Karma and you're looking at your car credit score that the dealership pulls, it's going to show completely different. Is that true?
I mean, so everybody's going to be completely different, but what you have to understand, number one, Credit Karma is not your real credit score that lenders use. Period. It's not. Credit Karma can be a tool. So I don't discourage people necessarily from using it, but you need to, the whole thing is to understand how to use it as a tool, not rely on it for actual scores that lenders are going to use. And it doesn't matter what kind of lender. I mean, 90% of lenders are going to use something called a FICO score. And what Credit Karma shows you is actually a Vantage 3.0 score. So it's just, and it was actually created by the credit bureau. FICO was created by the Fair Isaac Corporation. So there are two completely different things. They do weigh items quite differently. And not only is it a different scoring model in general, FICO has like 20 different versions. So there's not even just one FICO. There's like 20 FICO scores, depending on what your score is for. So a mortgage score is different than an auto score that is different from a bank card score.
Wow.
And so on.
I had no idea. So they use different FICO. So a FICO score is determined based on what you're trying to borrow for.
Correct. Yeah, so they will pull different versions of your FICO score depending on what you're trying to qualify for.
So there's a different formula for a house, a mortgage.
Yes. So for an example, say that you are going to buy a vehicle. They're going to pull your auto FICO score. And there's even a couple different versions of that, but it depends on the lender which one they're going to pull. So if you have things like repossessions and things like that, your auto FICO is going to be lower than, say, even your mortgage FICO or your credit card FICO, because they weigh things differently. So if you're looking at buying a car, of course your auto FICO is going to be lower if you have something like a repossession on there. Does that make sense?
Even though you've made all your house payments.
If you made, I mean,
so you've paid everything else, but you had a repossession. Then your auto FICO score is down. But if you go to buy a house, we don't care about that repossession.
No,
you made all your house payments.
It's not going to care. It just weighs it differently. So now if you have mortgage late payments, and you go to buy a mortgage, you know, that score is going to be lower because you have mortgage late payments, and mortgage, anything that happens with a mortgage is going to weigh more significantly on a FICO mortgage score.
So let me ask you this. You're using the word weighing. So this is a good question. So I have heard that your credit score is weighed on different things as far as your credit goes. So like I've heard of like utilization,
debt to income ratio.
Tell us about how the percentages break down so everybody can listen to this. I think this is going to be a really good thing. Everybody put your listening ears on.
Yeah, I mean, this is like 101 of understanding your credit. So there's going to be 5 main components of your credit score. First is going to be payment history. That's 35%. And I'm talking FICO breakdown, by the way. So what most lenders are going to use. So 35% is going to be your payment history. So that's making on-time payments for whatever hits your credit, whether it's credit cards, mortgages, auto loans, whatever. Next is going to be your credit card utilization. So that just means how much of your credit that you're using versus the limit. So your balances versus the limit. Now, the old rule on this that you hear a lot is 30%. Keep it under 30%. Keep it under 30%. I disagree. I say keep your utilization under 10%. And I have a nugget. I have a nugget for that. If the key to that, if you guys want to hear it.
Yes.
So that would be, I hear people all the time. They're like, I pay my credit cards off at the due date. I always pay every month. I use them and I pay them off by the due date, which is great. But if you go look at your credit score, their utilization showing 50, 60, 70, 80%. And that is because the credit card companies don't report the balances on the due date. So even though you paid it to zero by the due date, they're not reporting that. They report at the end of statement date. So if you look at your credit card statement, you have a statement date where it's the beginning
Pay at
and
the end of the billing cycle, not when the payment's due.
Correct. The billing cycle.
That makes sense.
Generally at the end of the billing cycle, which is going to be completely different than your due date, is when they report that balance.
Mine's a month out.
Yeah. So if you're using 80% of your credit limit at the end of statement date, that's what's going to report to the credit bureaus, and that's what they're going to have for a month until it gets updated to the next month.
So here, Jackie, I'll give you an example. So I have a Capital One card that's for my business, but I signed a personal guarantee, so it shows up on my personal credit report, right? So I have a limit of 24,000, and I usually put between 9 and 11, maybe sometimes 12, consistently every month, and I pay it off every month. I haven't paid interest in who knows how long. So you're suggesting that we pay that when the billings before the billing cycle ends?
Yes.
From the previous month.
Yes. So the end of statement is when they're generally going to report to the credit bureaus. So, and you can do it a couple different ways. Some people split it up into different payments. So you can, basically pay it down to less than 10% by the end of statement date, and then you can make another payment by the due date to pay it to zero. So
yeah, because I use about 40% of mine every month.
Yeah. So whatever the balance is on the end of statement date, that's what's getting reflected to the credit bureaus.
Right.
So
okay. I need to split mine up.
Big key right there that people are like, I'm losing points and I don't understand how. A lot of times that's a big factor.
I've watched mine because I got Credit Karma too, and I've watched mine fluctuate with that. Because I got a personal credit card from U.S. Bank that's got a $10,000 limit that I don't put any money on. But I've watched it go up and down based on when I pay my Capital One. Even though it's for the business, it shows up on my personal credit.
Well, make sure you're using that. Make sure you're using that other card. They're gonna lower your limits or close it on you. So you don't want that to happen either.
I do too much business with them.
All right. So we went over payment history, credit card utilization. Next is going to be credit history, which is 15%. So you want to, don't close old accounts. Basically, the older your history is, the higher your chances of raising your credit score. The other two are 10%. That's applying for new credit. So inquiries on your credit report, they stay on there for 2 years. Hard hits, not soft ones, which means a hard hit is something from a lender that you're actually applying for to open credit. So that's going to be a credit card, a mortgage, an auto loan. If you apply for an apartment, that unfortunately does hit your credit as well. And then the last one's going to be credit mix. And this is missed by a lot of people too. This one's
credit
10%.
What?
Credit mix. The credit bureaus want to see that you can handle different types of credit. So you can't just have no loans and all credit cards, or all loans and no credit cards. Like you need to have, ideally for a perfect credit profile, not perfect, but ideal, you want to have a short-term loan, a long-term loan, and at least 3 open revolving credit cards to build positive credit.
Wow. Yeah, because last time I know I'm over 800. And I just have 2.
Ooh, he's showing off.
That's right. I was at 825 last time I got told.
Ooh. Hold me back, folks.
That's right. That's right. Well, I mean, because I just have a mortgage. I don't have any auto loans on my stuff. My cars I pay for cars a completely different way. And then I got 2 credit cards. That's it. I got some open accounts though.
So if you're not David Marks and you do need to raise your credit score, how can you do that? Like, what are some simple tips that you can give our audience right now that they could do to raise their credit score?
Well, it kind of depends on where you are, but generally, if you have credit card debt, the fastest way to raise your credit score is pay your credit cards off. Pay them all the way down under 10%. Actually, if you're really trying to get to the tip top of your score, pay them all the way down to 1 to 3%, where it's going to report to the credit bureaus at 1 to 3%. That's ideally how to get your credit score, the highest. The other thing is honestly just pay your bills on time. Anything that actually hits your credit, to pay them on time, because credit killing, like the biggest credit killers are credit utilization and late payments. Late payments, 1 30-day late. This shocks everybody every time I say it. 1 30-day late can cost you 100 points.
Wow.
Now that depends on how high you are when you start. So you, for example, you with your 825, you get a 30-day late. That's going to hit you harder than it is with somebody with a 610, because they're not going to lose 100 points at 610. But you at 825, you probably lose 100 points or more from 1 30-day late payment.
Damn.
Yeah, and that 30-day late is going to affect your score for 24 months.
Wow, that's 2 years.
Yeah. So those are the biggest two things. Other than that, like I said, you want to have a credit mix. You want to just use the credit that you have properly, and keep it simple. There's a lot of stuff out there that people are using, the Experian Boost and all this kind of stuff. Honestly, if you want to build your FICO lending scores, you need to stick to credit cards, loans, making your payments on time, and not over applying for credit. I mean, you just really need, it's a very simple thing. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Thanks, Jackie. And so if you're just tuning in right now, we are listening to credit expert Jackie Hug with Credit Defenders. She's talking about everything that we should be listening to about credit, and especially all the crap that's going on in this world right now. I think this is going to be a really huge help for everybody. I mean, if it wasn't good for 70% of the people before, it's at least 70% now that you should be listening to. We have been talking about all kinds of things, and we're going to be going into story time. And I love story time. Jackie, what story time is for us is our listeners love to listen to stories. And it doesn't have to be something related to cars, something that you're working with a client, or you have a success story with a client that you're working with that has really been hit by credit, and some of the things that how you're helping them with your company.
Okay. Well, fortunately, I've been able to help a lot of people, raise their credit scores, qualify for homes or cars or whatever they need to be. One thing that's kind of on the top of my mind right now that you bring that up would have to be, I spoke with someone last week. She signed up for service. She went through divorce. Her credit is a mess from divorce, which I see a lot of, unfortunately. She does have a home. They're having a hard time affording that home at the payment that it's at. She's unable to refinance. She's unable to sell the home and pull out the equity because she can't find somewhere else to live because she doesn't have, her credit is just a wreck. So she came to me, and we had a very long conversation, kind of like a come to Jesus kind of moment of what needs to be done. And she was able to, say, I can commit to doing the things you say I need to do. This is my only option. My only option. I have to get my credit score up. She's a single mom of 4 kids, since she's gotten divorced and all that. And she just wants to be able to sell the house and pull the equity out. And she has no family to go live with. She has no other options. She can't get an apartment. She can't do anything. So really, she just needs to get her credit score high enough to where she can take the equity out of her house, sell the home, and either move into a new place or an apartment or whatever. But so these are the people that I look to help,
Yeah, that's amazing. So I'm gonna share something too, and this is something that I see a lot of people getting taken advantage of. And obviously, Mr. David Marks and I, we love to help people avoid scams. I know there's a lot of scams in that industry. What are some things that people can do to avoid scams? Like, what are some of the things that some of these, let's just call them companies without integrity, they try to find people that they can prey on?
Well, when it comes to credit repair industry, unfortunately, there is a lot of nonsense that goes on. I will tell you, there's definitely some things to look for. So number one, do your due diligence, of course. You want to look at the company. Do they have a website? Do they have a Google page? Do they have reviews? Like real reviews, not fake reviews. You can usually tell the difference if you're paying attention. But really, things you want to watch for, if they're guaranteeing you anything, timeline, like we'll clean your credit, we'll sweep your credit in 30 days. That's not real credit repair. That's some sort of fraudulent activity that they're doing, filing fake police report. I've seen it all. You hear anything about CPNs, which is basically a fake social security number, which is a thing. People buy CPNs and you purchase things, which is usually a deceased social security number.
Wow.
Yeah. I forget what it's something privacy number.
Well, I saw this on the news special that like people that want to steal somebody's identity will prey on somebody that just came out of a bankruptcy because they're getting flooded with stuff. And I heard about a story where somebody just came out of bankruptcy. These people stole their credit. They bought a car and paid it off because it shot up their score. And then they went, and that's when they hit them with the real scam, with the real identity theft.
Interesting.
Because it rose their score because they paid a car off. And then I think they bought a house with it or something. And these people had no clue that their score had shot up.
Yeah, identity theft is very prevalent. Most people in their lifetime will experience some sort of identity theft. If you do experience some, I actually don't do identity theft, by the way. So credit repair is not really for identity theft. If you have actual real identity theft, if you go to identitytheft.gov, the FTC has a whole step-by-step process, walks you through the whole thing on how to resolve issues with identity theft. And one of the first steps is you have to get a police report, like a real police report. Because you have to understand, I get people that call me like, well, can't you just send letters to the credit bureau? Like, this isn't mine. It's not. Do you know how many people are sending letters to the credit bureau saying that accounts aren't theirs? They get thousands and thousands a day. So
this is great. This is great information, Jackie.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought about, it makes sense you don't do that, but I would have never thought to go to the FTC's website.
Yes. So identitytheft.gov is where you want to go if you have identity theft. And they literally have a PDF that walks you through step-by-step on what to do. And one of the first steps is that you have to go get a police report. And then it's going to walk you through how to submit the information with the police report to the credit bureaus and, get that stuff. And if you follow the process, generally from what I hear, it works. That is the best way that you're going to resolve these issues. You go to a credit repair for identity theft and they start sending letters saying, the stuff's not mine. This isn't mine. I mean, they get so many letters like that, which is, by the way, not how I do credit repair.
Well, I want to get into that here in 1 second. I'm going to, on that note, but one thing I want to ask you, and this is something that I think could be very helpful to everybody, including myself. But just so you know, for the record, I have an over 825 credit score.
All right.
But this wouldn't be for me. This would be for somebody that wants to get they want to really get their real credit score. Is there a way for someone to actually get their real credit score, or more of what's the word I'm looking for? More of a realistic credit score than just going to Credit Karma without a hard pull?
Yes, absolutely. So, by the way, anytime you pull your own credit, it's never a hard pull. You can check your credit 15 times a day if you want. It's a soft pull always.
Where?
So I recommend, if you want your actual FICO scores, you can go to myfico.com. So myfico.com. These are not free because if you want your real FICO scores, they're not going to be free, unfortunately.
Okay.
So you can go there and they will literally, I think they give you 20 something different FICO scores. They don't just give you one score. They give you your auto score, your mortgage scores, your bank card scores. So it will literally break it down. So depending on what you're trying to do, you will have an understanding of what that specific score is.
So then too, this could be good information if you're trying to get one of these loans and somebody throws some BS at you, you can say, ta-da.
Yeah. I mean, and it is a third party company still. So the lender, but generally it's going to be almost right on. From my experience, my FICO is pretty much right on. You're talking 1 or 2 points difference. for
You
when
can
they
know if a
actually
lender's
award
trying
it.
to get over on you, though. That's a great way to make sure that, you know, a lender isn't trying to get you higher interest rate than what you really should have based on that.
Yeah, I mean, if something's not adding up and you're at a lender and they're saying your FICO, like you're looking at my FICO and they're saying it's way different,
That's a red flag.
something's not
Bye.
driving. I mean, I would be suspicious at that point. Yes.
Okay.
So, if you're looking for a free FICO score, you can go to Experian.com. They will give you a free FICO 8 score, but keep in mind that's only your Experian score. But it is a FICO 8 score, which is a good, it gives you a good idea of kind of where you are, at least with your FICO scores, if you want a free score.
This is awesome information, Jackie. So you said that you had made a comment that you're like, we don't do things, you know, by sending a bunch of letters. Tell us about how your program works. What are the costs, and how soon can people expect results?
So, what we do actually, so with credit repair, there's two sides. We're going to assess the building as well. Like, you know, I talked about the importance of having the proper accounts reporting. So we do both aspects. So we are going to challenge the negative items on your report. And the way we do that is actually called something by Metro 2, which we're more challenging the reporting of the account and not so much what the account is. So it's a little more complicated to get into it, but just to give you an idea. So we don't send letters saying like, this isn't mine, and all these fraudulent, you know, we don't claim false accusations that the accounts aren't theirs and things. And then on the building side, we make sure that you have the correct positive credit reporting and that you're utilizing it properly. Like I said, if you have several credit cards open, but you're maxed out at 100% because you don't understand how to pay it down by the end of statement date, you literally can jump 100 points just by properly paying your credit cards or understanding that, you know, the utilization is costing you. So, so that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. Add the positive, remove negative that we can, and if you do that properly, then your score is going to go up, right? So remove negative, add positive. So our price, so everything's included in our price except for any additional building that you need. So secured credit cards, installment builders to build that up, and we charge $127 a month.
That sounds like the easiest $127 a month that I would ever pay. I was so much expecting you to say way more.
Oh
Yeah, no doubt.
Dude,
I was too. I was like, wow.
This is incredible. I'm so glad that you came on to, you know, to tell us about what you do. So if people want to work with you or they have questions, is there a website that you can give them or a contact?
Yeah, they can go to our website. That's usually the easiest way. There you can sign up. We do free consultations, and if you don't have, you know, I'll even have you just send me a free copy of your Experian report, so you don't have to sign up for credit monitoring to get me a full report. If I can get an idea of what's going on, we know if you're a good candidate for the program or not. But they can go to www.defendyourcred.com. Not credit, just cred. So cred. So defendyourcred.com.
Defendyourcred.com. That is so awesome. Let's have a contest. I want to hear like everybody's worst credit horror story and put it into the comments section.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that.
And maybe, just maybe, we can get Jackie to respond to that and what she would have done in that situation. We all need help. It's important to have the right advisors in your life. I personally know Jackie Hug, and she is a woman of integrity. And that is all we like to work with, is people of integrity. And what she does is absolutely incredible. I hope that everybody found just a tremendous value today. Thank you for joining us. Give us a review in iTunes. Put the comments out there. Thank you for being such loyal listeners. Again, my name's Jay Grossman. I'm the founder and CEO of iAutoAgent. This is Mr. David Marks with Quality Auto Repair and Tire. And thank you so much today, Jackie, with Credit Defenders, to join us.
Thank you, guys.
Jackie.
Thanks for having me on, guys. You guys rock, literally. I love the show. I love you. I know you both personally. I love you guys. So really appreciate you having me on, though. I hope this information, I hope somebody found this very helpful.
Yeah, it definitely will. We'll talk to you soon. See you.